Hi folks, today I'll be sharing a cool rogue build, the tanky Arcane Trickster. This build is tough to take down, having high AC. It also excels at picking locks. Once you hit level 11 and gain the reliable talent ability, you become the master of ability checks. You can even be the face of your party. In terms of damage, this build performs well in both early and late game. In the late game, especially after obtaining the armor of Bhaal, the damage just skyrockets. Now let's dive into the build. We kick things off as a fighter. Choosing the fighter class allows you to pick a fighting style, a great boost for your rogue, and we opt for two-weapon fighting, making offhand attacks just as strong as main-hand attacks. Defense is another option if you won't use offhand attacks that much, granting a +1 bonus to your AC. Starting as a fighter brings proficiency in Constitution saving throws, crucial for the pass of the Arcane Trickster. Plus, you gain proficiency in all weapons and armor, which is quite limited if you start as a rogue. For stats, prioritize Dexterity and Constitution. If you plan on getting the Hex Hair, set your Dexterity to 17, then spend the rest of your points as you like, but consider putting a few in Strength and Wisdom. For skills, make sure to grab Acrobatic to make it harder for enemies to push you. Moving on to level 2, we dip into the Rogue class. At this point, you get to choose a few extra skills. I suggest grabbing Sleight of Hand because having someone who can pick locks in your party is always handy. At this level, you can even expertise at it, doubling your proficiency bonus when making these checks, which is fantastic. Additionally, you gain Sneak Attack. It allows you to deal extra damage to a foe you have advantage against, or if you have an ally within 1.5 meters of the target and you don't have disadvantage. This becomes your main damage output ability. Its damage increases every 2 levels. By level 11, it deals an additional 66 damage to foes you have advantage against, and it becomes 12d6 on a critical hit. Really powerful. To maximize your sneak attack, it's best to stick with the rogue class and avoid too much multi-classing. Moving on to the next level, you gain cunning action, hide, dash, and disengage. This allows you to use a bonus action for these actions, a significant advantage as most classes requires an action to do so. Now you can hide using your bonus action before making a weapon attack, gaining advantage for your sneak attack. At rogue level 3, you choose your subclass, and we're going with the Arcane Trickster. Here you can select cantrips and spells. I recommend focusing on utility cantrips. As for spells, Shield is the core. It makes you much tankier in combat, allowing you to use your reaction to increase your AC by 5 before an enemy hits you. An excellent level 1 spell. You also gain the Mage Hand ability, summoning an invincible spectral hand that can throw objects. This hand can be particularly useful when you need to make a sneak attack without advantage. Moving the mage hand next to your target will enable you to make the sneak attack. At level 4, choose any spell you like, as they won't affect the spell. For the first feat, use the ability improvement to boost your dexterity to 18. Hitting level 5, you unlock Uncanny Dodge, allowing you to halve the damage once per turn, making you even tankier. However, this ability can only be toggled on and off and can be used as a reaction. A bit disappointing. You can replace older spells you don't want to use with the new ones. Consider the handy ritual spells like Long Strider, as they don't use a spell slot if you cast them outside of combat. At level 6, you get to choose a skill. Having more proficiency skills will be beneficial as you reach higher levels. I'll talk about this shortly. At level 7, you gain Evasion, allowing you to take no damage on a successful dexterity saving throws against spells and only take half if you fail. While starting as a fighter provides proficiency in Constitution saving throws, lacking proficiency in dexterity saving throws might pose a challenge, but it's still a handy ability. You also unlock level 2 spells, and I highly recommend taking Blur, making attacks against you have disadvantage. Combine this with a shield, you are now essentially impossible to hit. Even if you do get hit, Uncanny Dodge allows you to halve the damage, turning you into the perfect tank. Reaching level 8, you can choose your second feat, and Warcaster is the way to go. It grants you advantage on saving throws to maintain concentration. For your spell choices, consider taking Darkness. At level 9, you gain Magical Ambush. While you're hidden, your targets have disadvantage on saving throws against your spell. It is an impressive spell, but doesn't work well with this spell. Reaching rogue level 10, you gain an extra feat, and you want to go with a dual wielder. In Act 3, you will encounter a lot of amazing weapons, and wielding two of them is not only fantastic, but epic. But these weapons can be heavy. As for your cantrips and spell choices, just pick whatever you like. In the final level, you unlock the potent reliable talent. When you make an ability check with a skill you're proficient with, the lowest result you can roll on the dice is a 10. This ability turns you into the god of ability checks. You can now say goodbye to critical failures, since the lowest result you can roll is 10, as long as you have proficiency with that skill. This is why it's important to acquire as many skills as possible for this spell. Additionally, by activating the illicit power, illicit expertise, you can gain proficiency in persuasion, deception, and intimidation checks, making you exceptionally strong in conversation checks. Definitely one of the best abilities in this game. Now your sneak attack damage is 6d6, potentially becoming 12d6 on a critical hit. This becomes the primary way for rogues to dish out damage. In the later acts of the game, you want to focusing on increasing your critical chance. This strategy is simple. Stand in the front line and draw attention. When it comes to your turn, use sneak attack on your target, hitting as hard as possible. An easy but effective strategy. When it comes to gear choices in Act 1 and Act 2, your options are somewhat limited, but you can still craft a solid build with the right equipment. Consider using the COVID count for your helmet in Act 2. It decreases your critical number by 1 when you are obscure. This effect can stack with other items, such as the Knife of the Undermountain King, which also reduces your critical number by 1. This knife also allows you to reroll a damage dice when you roll a 1 or 2. Additionally, it grants you advantage on attack rolls against lightly or heavily obscure targets. You can obtain this weapon in the Githyanki Crash. Two crucial items are the Cloak of Cunning Brume and the Eversight Ring. The Cloak of Cunning Brume lets you create a foggy cloud that blinds everyone within 2 meters when you use Disengage, paired with the Eversight Ring, which grants immunity to being blinded. You gain advantage when attacking folks in the cloud, while they have disadvantage when attacking you. This also provides the opportunity to trigger your sneak attacks, dealing more lethal damage. All you need to do is a simple click, then you got your advantage. For armor, any heavy armor with a decent AC will suffice. The gloves of Growling Underdog provide advantage on melee attack rolls when surrounded by 2 or more folks, acting as a fail-safe insurance if some folks are immune to being blinded. This makes sure you still have your advantage for your sneak attacks. You can also get your sneak attack by moving your mage hand next to your target, so feel free to choose what suits your gameplay best. The evasive shoes give you a +1 bonus on AC and acrobatics, and try to use Brand the Weak to make your target vulnerable to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. When combined with a critical hit, the damage can be truly formidable. For the second ring, the Ring of Free Movement is recommended, but feel free to use what you have available. At this point, using a shield increases your tankiness even more, and I recommend the Adamantine Shield. Next up, we have the Act 3 gear. In Act 3, you have plenty of choices, allowing you to tailor your build for a high critical chance. First, there's Saravoke's Horn Helmet, which decreases your critical hit number by 1 and grants immunity to being frightened. The Cloak of Cunning Brume is still your key item. Now the game changer is the Armor of Baal, the most overpowered item. It comes with the aura of murder. Enemies within 2 meters become vulnerable to piercing damage unless they have resistance to it. This effectively doubles all your piercing damage, benefiting not only you, but also your party members dealing piercing damage. Absolutely broken. For gloves, consider those providing additional elemental damage, such as the Helldusk gloves, which adds an extra 1d6 fire damage to weapon attacks. Boost of Striding prevents you from falling prone as long as you are concentrating on a spell. Being knocked prone also breaks your concentration, really annoying. When it comes to amulets, feel free to use whatever you have. The Shadow-Cloaked ring allows you to do an additional 1d4 damage against lightly or heavily obscure creatures and creatures made of shadow. Again, you can simply get everyone obscure by clicking the Disengage. At this level, you want to dual wield 2 weapons. For your main hand, the Knife of the Undermountain King remains your best choice. For the offhand, consider the Short Spear of Evening. This weapon provides several benefits. dealing an extra 1d6 damage to lightly or heavily obscure creatures. This also works when you attack with your main hand weapon, and granting immunity to being blinded. Additionally, you can use darkness once per turn, placing this weapon in your offhand because it's not a light weapon, and it can trigger the sneak attack. If you don't have this weapon, consider the Blade of the First Blood. The Death Shot is your best bow, also lowering your crit chance number by 1. Since you consistently attack with advantage, it significantly boosts your crit chance. And that's it for today's spell. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 builds. And thanks for watching. Until next time.